MCing for weddings. So I had a friend today that was writing to me about MCing in weddings. He was asking me to give him a couple videos of myself while I was MCing to learn a couple tips and tricks. The truth is, even though I'm a DJ for weddings and I MC every pretty much wedding I have, I do not consider myself an MC or a good MC or an animator or anything of the kind. Yet, this is something that we cannot escape and we must have and we must do during the weddings, because most of the time the MC is pretty much the DJ, or it's really useless to have someone doing only the MCing when the DJ kind of already guides the crowd and has the songs and the animation and puts the dances and stuff. He's the one that really goes to talk with the wedding planner and decides what's going on the next step with the wedding planner. So the MC really is just adding structure to an event when maybe it's not big enough for both to have the same place. Unless there's animation in the wedding, then you'll be needing both. And these kind of weddings, usually it's pretty rare, because even then, if the DJ has enough experience, he can do both at the same time. So I'm gonna give you guys the first tips as an MC if you have to do MCing during a wedding that I've personally found that helps me a lot. The first tip would be to use keywords, because once you take on the microphone, believe me, even in these videos, you forget what you were about to say. And even more if there are people around you and people that you don't know, and perhaps a change last minute that kind of confuses you. You need keywords to at least go back to these words to finish what you were intentionally trying to say. These words are going to be words that are instinctive to you, that are going to be always very easy to say, that are not necessarily making you think about them. You're going to say them anyways. One of these words, for example, for me, when I'm introducing the bride and groom, I like to use the VIP word instead of bride and groom every time of the night. I use VIP. Or I call the bride and groom VIPs as I'm introducing them. Another tip can be the bridesmaids, the groomsmen, and the bridal party. I always call them the selected few, the closest friends. They're always synonyms or phrases that kind of re-says the same intention for you to be changing things a bit and having the same word to go back to. Tip number 2, analyzing the crowd. And these are tips that I've gathered from professional MCs in Puerto Vallarta. And the first tip is to check out the clothes and the fashion of the people in your event. That tells a lot about the people's style. Perhaps they're very fashionistas, if they're open-minded, if they're religious, if they are very in between the family. We're talking about weddings here, so if the families only are attending the wedding, well, it tells you a lot about the dress codes. They're not going to be dressed as people going to the club. Even the girl's going to have dress that are more colorful than sexy. It depends on what the intention and who they are with. So the fashion is one tip that can guide you through how to MC and how to DJ and how to select the vibes for the night. The second tip here is the tattoos. People who have tattoos are usually more open-minded. They're usually more club goers. They know more of the tracks. They can sing more. They can dance more on the dance floor. And so having a couple people in your crowd that has tattoos gives you a little bit of an idea if they go to clubs usually, or if they are people perhaps that are not used to going to the club a lot. These people will be a little bit harder to do MCing and weddings, but it's normal. For example, if you are in between the family, you will not most likely have the same wedding or the same party or the same animation as if you are with a group of friends, right? And so the third tip is also the confidence and the social presence that they emit and they share with their people at the wedding. That also goes with if they are communicating in between each other, if people are socializing, or if they don't know each other at all. I've seen it before. Weddings where nobody knows anyone and everybody is shy, does not have any confidence to go on the dance floor or to talk to anybody. It is very tough, and it happens quite a lot. Tip number 3 is about the essential role that the MC plays at a wedding, right? So even if you are the DJ, you need to let people know what's happening at that precise moment. If they arrive to the reception area, or it's cocktail hour, or it's the time for people to take pictures, people need to know that before they start just wandering about and not being sure about what's going on. Most of the time, it's very common. It's the cocktail hour time, or it's the sunset photos time, and you don't really announce it, or nobody knows really that that's the moment of the night, and people just go to sit down at the tables and wait for dinner. And then what's going to happen is your people are going to lose that momentum and energy, even if they are people who would like to party and have a good energy for afterwards. They are down building their momentum and their energy to party. And so it's important to tell people what's going on. If, for example, it's the cocktail hour, you can just let people know that you're going to be in the cocktail hour for now. Don't say any specific time in which it's going to end, because weddings are always flexible. Perhaps the bride is going to be late, so don't start saying until for 10 minutes. Just say for a bit, and let people know that we'll be going into dinner very shortly. So letting people know what's going on right now, and letting people know what's going on afterwards, right? Especially if they miss your announcement. Tip number 4 is formal versus informal. So there's a couple different ways to do emceeing. For myself, I kind of mix a little bit of both and adapt depending on the crowd. So if there's a big crowd, it might be a little bit stressed. I prefer to do it informal, especially if the people are a little bit more looking at me while I'm doing it. It kind of breaks the barrier between the person on the stage, the person that's talking so loud, the person that's getting all the attention, and every little peons on the dance floor, right? So you're gonna be breaking that between them and you, and that creates more communication, more fun, and less stress or anxiety. Tip number 5 is when to keep it simple versus when to hype the crowd. Obviously, this is about adapting to whatever is going on, to your wedding, and to the energy that the people are bringing to the table. Of course, sometimes the crowd is going to be quiet, and you do need to hype them up because they need a kick, they need a push to feel like they're not the first ones to break the noise, to break the energy that is kind of stagnant in the wedding. So yes, sometimes you're going to have to bring up the energy, and sometimes you're just going to need to keep it down, keep it low, just announcing the introductions and keep it normal so that you don't molest. For example, if it's an older crowd wedding, if there's only people above 50 years and they have ears that are a little bit sensible, and the speakers are very close to them, you yell in their ears, it's not gonna do anything. It's not gonna achieve anything. So better to keep it simple sometimes, or just to distance yourself from the microphone so that you are not yelling so loud in the microphone. Gauge your volumes, gauge your energy, and adapt to your wedding as you're emceeing.